Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a screencast-o-matic presentation and recording for the part of the lesson that has us looking at the public sphere as part of public opinion. Before we get started, please let me encourage you to open up to today's lesson and to scroll down to the correct section as we read and discover more about the public sphere and the role that it plays in our government and in our elected officials. Additionally, please remember that you're to answer the key concept questions that correspond with the reading. Remember, you can replay any part of this presentation that you need for detail or clarity later. Let's get started. What is the public sphere? Imagine a stage where actors are performing a play. Now imagine everyone in society is watching the same play. Afterward, everyone in society can have similar discussions. Was the play any good? Did they cast the right actor in the lead role? Wasn't the second scene in the third act hilarious? Is this a whole stage that we are all watching? There are topics that we all pay attention to, issues we all have opinions about, and policies that affect all of our lives. The public sphere is a place where society discusses the issues that affect everyone. It links us all together as one large community. But where is the public sphere? Discussions in the public sphere exist at the local, national, and global levels all at the same time. On any given day, you might talk to a friend about the new skate park in your town, to your teacher about whether the state will change the graduation requirements next year, to your uncle about whether the US should drill for oil off its coast, or to a neighbor about the war against terrorism. All these issues exist in the public sphere, but on different levels. Someone who lives on the other side of the country probably isn't talking about your new skate park, but they are talking about how the US can gain energy independence. People in England probably aren't talking about the US whether they should drill for oil, but they're probably worried about terrorism. The public agenda. Discussions that take place in the public sphere give rise to the public agenda. An agenda is like a to-do list, and your personal agenda might include things like, find a summer job, study for a test, bring your C in history up to an A. The public agenda is a to-do list to issue that much of the public agrees are a priority. The public agenda might include things like clean up after a major natural disaster, solve the problems with our healthcare system, or decide who should be the next president. But who sets the public agenda? So the issues on the public agenda depend on what is being discussed in the public sphere. But who decides what the public will discuss? Sometimes nobody decides, as with the events like elections that occur on a regular schedule. Everyone knows when an election is going to happen, so people start talking about it. Similarly, large disasters don't need any help getting attention. When planes slam into high-rise buildings in New York or tsunami kills thousands of people in Japan, word spreads around the globe almost immediately. So issues people face in everyday life, such as drug use or expensive health care, also end up in the public sphere simply because so many people are personally affected by the problem. On to the next page. But other issues are too distant or too specialized to get attention on their own. So people starving in far-off country, like a new law that affects certain types of businesses, a species quietly going extinct in a disappearing ecosystem. Many important issues like these would never reach the public sphere if people did not hear about them in the news. Public spotlight. Sometimes public attention focuses on a person or event that does not require public action. When a celebrity marries or a team wins the Super Bowl, everyone may be talking about it, but there's nothing to be put on the public agenda. That celebrity or team is simply in the public spotlight. But even so, the public spotlight can call attention to issues. A celebrity who dies of a drug overdose may focus attention on the issue of drug abuse, which is always on the public agenda. Celebrities also use their fame to bring public attention to specialized issues that they care about. And down here is public opinion and public policy. Once people start paying attention to issues, they usually start forming an opinion about them. So public opinion is the view that a significant part of the public has about an issue. Public opinion is measured by polls, which are surveys that ask people what they think. And when you hear things like 2/3 of Americans oppose or a majority of Americans believe, you are hearing the results of public opinion polls. So it is important to remember that no poll actually surveys every single person in America. Polls just take a sample, anywhere from a few hundred to a few thousand people who are representative to the nation as a whole. So public policy in the public sphere works like this. Public policy is the stand that government takes on an issue. The government's stand on the issue affects the laws it passes and the attention it takes. But how does the government decide on where to stand? What influences the public agenda? If a huge proportion of society is talking about an issue, the government is likely to pay attention to do something about that issue. So what exactly will the government do? Well, that depends partly on public opinion. Remember that our government is made up of people who represent us. So those people, your senators and representatives, listen to what the public thinks. If a senator learns that 3/4 of the voters in her district are against something, the senator will probably work against it on their behalf. If polls show most Americans favor something, Congress may feel bold enough to pass a law favoring that thing, or the president may take action to promote it. But this does not mean the government is a slave to the public opinion polls. Public policy is influenced by many factors, but in a country where voters decide who gets to be in government and who doesn't, the public sphere can have a big impact on government. So as you guys can see, that provides a general overview about public opinion in politics and government. At this time, you are to answer the key concept questions from that reading, and of course to match the scenario here to the private sphere or public sphere accordingly, and then of course to answer the challenge question exercise down at the bottom, classifying different issues and topics, whether they're global, national, state, or local. Good luck with completing the rest of the lesson, and remember to proceed accordingly. Thank you very much.